I'm gonna go into academics and show the schedule. Well, today's the last day, so I'm just gonna talk about the classes for the spring, and then answer any questions you have. Um, if you have questions on past projects, I'll answer those. Won't help you on the final project, but if you have any questions on any other project, then that's what the rest of the class will be for. So. Um, I said that everything is due tonight at midnight. I do that to push people. But if you need a little bit extra time, the very last time to turn in anything would be Wednesday at midnight next week. So um, the introduction to computer science, you obviously know what that is because you're in it. But just in case somebody's listening to this and that isn't in the class, that teaches you some of the basics of computer science and the history. It teaches you HTML, HTML5, um, some JavaScript, CSS. HTML is the language, markup language of the internet, so it's what most web pages are based upon. CSS is the formatting, how to make something look a certain way. The JavaScript is a way to add interactivity into your program. JavaScript's evolved much more than just little add-ins for web pages, though. They're using JavaScript for a lot of different purposes. It was on Unity. That was one of the scripting languages, though they just recently took it away. Um, it is used for server purposes. Couldn't tell you exactly how. Um, Adobe Creative Cloud uses it in Animate for animations. They have the JavaScript as their language. So I don't know why. I like a lot of the other languages a lot better, but for some reason it's becoming popular in that way. Android App Development 2. This is if you're going to develop apps for an Android. Really only applies if you're in Android App Development 1. Not something you can necessarily take. CompTIA A plus. This is I think that's practical is what prac they shorten it. But this deals with the software. So if you want to take the A plus certification exam, this prepares you for one of the tests. If you don't know what the A plus certification is, CompTIA has some basic certifications that if you get your A plus, become A plus certified, you can work on machines. Um, Example of that is the Geek Squad up in Wichita. That's probably the biggest example. Ribbit Computing. Any place you take a computer in to get it worked on. They have that certification. If you're going to become a programmer, that knowledge is nice, but it's probably better if you'd focus on programming than be focused on the hardware side. Got C++ programming. This C++ was meant to replace C. Ended up didn't replace it. It was supposed to take C and then add in the object-oriented component, garbage collection, and some other minor items. Those are the two main ones. Well, it did add in objects, but didn't add them in easily to work with. Um, does handle garbage collection to a certain point, though Java's better. Um, So it never really took off as much, but it's still pretty popular. A lot of the four-year colleges focus on C++. A lot of the original game development was done in C++. That's kind of evolving over to C Sharp now. But you still have a lot of games still written in C++. So, but that's what that class is. ASP.NET, that's Microsoft's version of Java, I like to think of. Kind of a not exactly the same thing as Java, but it allows you to develop web-based applications. It is not cross-platform. You can't take a ASP.NET program and run it on any system, not like Java. Very specific to the Microsoft world. It can be used to program not only web-based applications, but even a little bit of app development. Though that's not its real strong suit. Java programming. This is the big one in the programming world. So it's probably the most popular one now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might be able to do that. I don't know why I shut that off. I realized after I shut it off that going in and changing the dates should bring up grades anyway. Okay. Um, Java programming, if you go to dice.com, is the big one. It probably has the most job postings of all the languages if you ever search. Um, Java is not related to JavaScript, so you can't take what you learned in JavaScript and just apply it directly over. The same concepts are. It doesn't matter what language you go to. If you know how to do a for loop, then that same concept is in every programming language. The C programming, even though they said that was going to go away when C++ came out, it's still alive. It's still strong. It's the foundation of everything else. You'll hear about a lot of these programming languages being C based, C sharp, Java, C++, sort of. You know, you look at a lot of the programming constructs of C and Java, for example, and they're exactly the same. You declare a variable with int. Um, I say C++ sort of because it kind of seemed like it veered off, but I believe it's still referred to as a C-based language. I actually had somebody in administration one time here who's knowledgeable on programming. Um, Nobody else is just like these are just words. If you ask anybody in administration what Java is, they'll think it's coffee. But this he's a very sharp individual, and he's our registrar way back when. And he asked me when I proposed all these. He said, "Well, why do you have so many C-based languages?" Just like, whoa, it's one thing to know what Java is what kind of programming language. It's another thing to know it's C-based. So I don't know where he got his knowledge at, because he definitely wasn't a programmer type. Either one would be fine. C++ is a little harder. Um, C is probably a little bit easier. Java is probably the easiest of the three. But C gets into pointers, and pointers are kind of tricky. Um, but it's not much in terms of pointers. The computer forensics, that's investigating computer crimes. You get into some of the tools you can use, some of the computer crimes that are out there, like steganography, if you ever heard of that. Um, I think I mentioned that. Mentioned about the eBay photos in here, where you're embedding. That's steganography, where you're hiding one file inside of another file, and so that covers uh, concept and some of the tools and so forth. Mm-hmm. 3D game development. This is developing. If you want to eventually develop a game like Call of Duty, then this is that type. Uh, Unity is one of the more popular packages they use. It's C sharp, C and then like a pound sign. A pound sign always refers to sharp in the programming world. So if you have ever go and tell somebody you program in C pound sign, uh, they may laugh in your face, but you won't get the job. So never refer to pound sign as or never refer to pound sign as pound. It's sharp. Um, but this has an interface where you develop work with 3D models. You bring them in, you have them move them around, and so forth. Introduction to digital design. This class is specifically designed for going to Wichita State. It's based upon working with gates, developing little mini circuits, and so forth. Um, if you're into that low level of programming and concepts, then you probably enjoy the class. A lot of it's theory based, so it's not as much programming. Um, I don't find it exciting myself. I'll be totally honest about that. It's programming at the lower level, working with the lower level, is not where I really enjoy. I love higher level languages like Java, and Java's probably about my favorite now. C sharp, maybe either C sharp or Java's. They kind of go hand neck and neck in that. But if you are going to Wichita State, you're going to computer science, you're going into computer engineering, going to electrical engineering, then you need to sign up for this class. This is not David Hayes' idea to start this. Wichita State came to us. They actually came to every community college, and they told us that we needed to be offering this class. What they were finding is people would come over from a community college, enter their junior year in computer science, and they'd try to take this class. Well, it's not that easy of a class, especially when you got a huge class like a WSU. You get a little bit more personalized attention at the community college, and so they said you need to take it here. People are going to Wichita State to take them 1, 2, potentially 3 semesters to get through that. So by the time they were seniors, they'd have this class out of their way. Well, at that point, they were ready to. That's a prereq for about everything in computer science and electrical engineering at Wichita State. And so everything's on hold until you get that class out of the way. So it's causing some people for their 4-year degree to go 5.5, 6 years. So they came to us and interesting enough, they didn't just come to us. They went to high schools too. There's high schools in this area that are offering this class. Just because they saw this, there's students coming in, and it was just really messing them up not to have that done. So whether you take it in the spring or you take it sometime, get that out of the way if you're going to Wichita State. You go into any other college, it's probably just going to transfer as a general elective or general computer science elective, so it won't transfer as a specific class. Um, I've been asked, why do they have that? Wichita State had got in trouble at one point in time with some of their accreditation. They had trouble getting faculty. Because if you're, yeah, and it's natural why they'd have trouble. They average median wage or the median wage for software developers, $110,000, I think, 120, something like that. If you're paying a faculty at Wichita State 60 or 70,000, which one are people going to choose? Are you going to make 40 or 50,000 less and teach? Probably not. They go out there and they're making 110,000. They don't want to teach, and so they're having trouble getting faculty. So what they did is they merged their computer science program with their electrical engineering program. As a result of that, you see some of the classes in the computer science that's like, well, that looks like a design class for circuits. What's that have to do with computer science? And so that's why you see that mixture at WSU. Oracle PL/SQL. Oracle is the most popular database in use now. A lot of the other commercial ones went by the wayside. They even bought, I think it's MySQL. I don't know how they bought it. Maybe they didn't buy it. Does everybody know what open source is? Yeah, so they have the software, the program editor, so you could actually see the code behind it. And MySQL was an open source database. It's a prereq for what? Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Then you need that class. No, they don't interchange like that. But I will talk about that here in a minute. Yeah, yeah. It's because it's the big one. Like here's mysql.com. I guess that's still out there, but Oracle kind of took it over. And yeah. So Oracle's become the big one. There was other ones that were competing against Oracle, but it's the one. Now this is the SQL plus the programming side. So it kind of teaches you three pieces. Teaches you how to work with Oracle, teaches you the SQL side, and teaches you the programming side. Because it integrates certain programming constructs with SQL. This allows you to automate items at night. Some of you may have taken SQL, you've issued SQL directly, but maybe never wondered, well, how's this run at night? Like if I run this, automate it versus somebody sitting there running it. But that's what that class is. Introduction to Linux, Unix. This is maybe an essential class for some people, depending upon where you're going. If you're going on to a 4-year college, back when I was working at Coke, I took my first computer class at Wichita State, and I went there, and they expected me to know Linux. I've been Unix then, but they expected me to know it, and I struggled because it's not that easy. It's not hard, but just a lot of things to remember. Like this is DOS, And if I wanted to go back a directory, I'd do cd space dot dot. Go back another directory, cd space dot dot. cd users, that changes the directory. Do cd David, and then do a tab. It does a completion, and then go there. I can make directory that way. I can create a file. Do a dir, that's a directory. Now those are basic commands for navigating here. So I wouldn't have to do anything over in File Explorer. I could do everything here. I'm going to rename a file. Let's see if I remember how to do it. My dots is going to go away. Let me try rename. Testing.txt, test2.txt, and so forth. I have to be honest. When Windows came out, I still did everything over here in DOS. So if I wanted to copy files, I went over here and copied them. If I wanted to rename them, I went over here and renamed them. I didn't want to use File Explorer. I figured if I use File Explorer, it's screw something up real bad, because you can delete asterisk dot asterisk, and that deletes everything in that folder. So here, I had to make a conscious effort to think about that. Over in Windows, have you ever been in Windows and you highlighted something and press delete, and it didn't necessarily come up and ask you to stop, and you realize you were deleting the wrong thing? I actually did that yesterday. I was cleaning up my downloads in this folder, and everything in Unity that I had saved had been in one folder under like a prefabs folder. And I'm sitting here wondering why I got like 200,000 files it's deleting. Because I'm sitting there panicked already, thinking, "Oh my God, what have I deleted by accident?" And it turns out it's just that. So that's what this is. It teaches you how to use those commands in Linux and Unix to get around. Now, some of you may be using Linux at home, Ubuntu, Fedora has a nice GUI, looks like Windows. You're wondering, well, what's hard about that? Click the icon, 5 minutes to teach me what you need to know. This is more of the behind the scenes part on that. A lot of places will not have that nice GUI on there. When you add a GUI onto a server, and Linux, Unix is a popular machine to host websites. If you add that GUI on there, that opens up a lot of holes. The ports that the GUIs need open up, and people can hack in easy. So when you got a website, typically they do not have a nice GUI like you're using on Ubuntu and Fedora. It's all command driven, like you saw with the DOS prompt there. So again, if you're going on to a college that is using Linux based, then that'd be good to know. Fort Hays, and I haven't confirmed this, but I have a student in one of my classes that is going to Fort Hays, and he indicated that a lot of his instructors use Macs, and it's Mac based. Does anybody know what the language is behind Macs, or the operating system structure? It's Linux. Yeah. Have you heard that Macs are a lot more reliable? Really? Huh. Now my Macs work pretty good. I have a lot more trouble with Windows, but that's true. Um, but the core underlying structure on there is Linux based. So I don't know when they switched over to that. Maybe it's always been. I don't know. It is. PC's better for a programmer. I like Macs, but there's so much you cannot do on it. It locks you down. And the reason why it doesn't get hacked into as much as Windows is because it locks you down. They're very proprietary. If you want to do a lot of things on their machine, you have to use things that are proprietary to Apple. Windows tries to be more open, and by being more open, you open yourself up to being hacked and so forth. But anyway, a lot of the servers are Linux based. They don't have the nice GUI, so you have to know those command prompts. Assembly language programming. If you go in Wichita State, this is another one that Wichita State said we should be offering. This is not a critical one. This isn't the same as Introduction to Digital Design. They didn't say if they don't have this done by the time they go to Wichita State, they're going to really be in a lot of trouble. This is just one they said be nice if you had out of the way. So if you're sitting there trying to decide between going to Wichita State, trying to decide between those, and you don't want to take both of them, the Introduction to Digital Design is your better one to get out of the way. That's a programming class. It's very low level, but not quite that circuit level. It's more very shortened commands. Right. Yeah, it's based upon the circuit theory. It's kind of like the next step after that. Where I mean, you don't have to have introduction to design to understand the assembly language, but I think there's a prereq on this of C or something like that. If you have had any programming class and you need approval to get into the class, just tell your advisor to contact me, and I'll tell them it's okay. It isn't strictly necessary that you're a C programming master to get into that. If you've had any of the other languages, then, like I say, they're all C. A lot of them are C based, so knowing Java would be enough to get into this, for example. Okay, Security Plus, that prepares you for the CompTIA Security Plus exam if you're going to go into computer security. That's really the overview of that. Now, my original plan I gave them was that all the classes that for every pathway for everything would be offered within 1 year's time frame. So that if you're needing to take any potential class we offer here at Cali, it's either going to be offered in fall or spring. Well, they didn't like my idea. And so they had me redo it, and so now it's spread. Some of them are spread out over. They're only offered instead of once a year, they may be offered once every 2 years. So as a consequence of that, if you have a class that you need to take or want to take, like Introduction to SQL or those other ones for your particular degree, your pathway, or whatever, then let me know. And I'll send me an email. I'll forward it right on to administration, and we'll see if they get that added in. This semester, we added the iOS App Development 1 and Android App Development 1 because student requested it. So we just couldn't offer throw everything on the schedule. So, and I understood where they came from. So that was in response to, if you need an introduction to SQL, send me an email. I'll forward it on to them. They'll see who it's from. And you'd be fine. Yeah. A lot of the classes that the way I've developed them, there's only a couple of them that aren't that way. I've developed them so that I assume you don't have that previous knowledge. Problem with having too many prereqs, Butler's this way. They have too many prereqs, and it's just insane. I was to take a class at Butler. Don't get me wrong, I'm not bashing. I like Butler's program, and so forth. I want to take a digital signage class at Butler. You've seen the digital signage in different places and so forth. Have you, like where they have like 9 monitors and there's one picture that's spread out among those 9 monitors? The digital signage you see out front here and so forth. Well, I want to learn how to do that. Marquee, yeah, it's become very popular. People don't want just a billboard from the 1800s, 1900s, that just has a picture. They want it to change. And so I wanted to take this class. I was really excited about it. And so I tried to sign up for it. And they said, well, no, you can't take that. You have to take, I forget which class it was as a prereq before that. And I'm thinking, well, okay, well, that means I got to wait 4 or 5 months to take this digital signage class. But then there's a prereq for that prereq. And so I'm sitting here. So I have to wait a year and a half before I can have the knowledge on digital signage. Um, you had to like have a Photoshop class prior to, and I know Photoshop, so it's not like I'd even be even hurting, but there was no way to bypass that. And that was the goal from the very beginning is you cannot have in a 2-year program, you cannot have all these prereqs that make you take numerous classes before you get to the one you really want. So anyway, just like I say, contact me and I'll forward that on to them. I don't make those decisions, but I just forward it on to the powers to be, and they say yay or nay. Um, well, most of them, besides the 2 prereqs at the top, Introduction to Computer Science, Introduction to SQL, the Associate Applied Sciences, you can pick, yeah, any of them apply. Change it to what? Oh no, he's going to you're transferring. Yeah. I think you might have been looking at they might have printed you off the wrong one. Let's see if I go to academics. This will be a challenging part if I can actually find it. Where? Is that where you find it? Okay. Let's see, programs. Actually, I know a better place. Because I think when we go to academics, I can choose natural science. Maybe. Oh, departments. So departments, natural science and mathematics. The see the computer science transfer pathways up here, but then down here, the associate applied sciences. This AAS. So this is the degree if you're taking the classes and you don't plan to really transfer. Just going to stop after you get that. Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Yeah. That's just for the 2-year. If you're planning to transfer on, then that's where you get into the other ones. But yeah, right. And then this one, even though they got these broke up into the different emphasis, you can actually take any combination of them. You do get more money with the bachelor's. That's true. Yeah. Um, but then again, if you're trying to focus on a specific area in here, And you don't want to, if you're going to go and try to develop apps, well, taking CompTIA to work on machines, is that going to help you at all? Yeah, exactly. So it's just like, well, that one doesn't do me any good, and I recognize that. That's why I say if there's a particular class that you really need for whatever your emphasis is, then let me know, and I'll go to bat for you on that. The ones up here, this computer science and computer engineering transfer pathway at Wichita State. That's one. Yeah, you have to take calculus up to Calc 1. And it's interesting. You see down here that here's the introduction to digital design, assembly language programming they told. They also have this engineering economy course. You might say, why do I have to take an engineering class to if I'm going to major in computer science? Well, again, they merged with the electrical engineering department, so that's calculus based. Yeah, um, so a lot of these are, and that's what you got so many prereqs on some of these. Like, take the engineering physics 2, you have to have engineering physics 1. Take engineering physics 1, you have to have calc 1. A lot of people don't come directly into calc 1, so they have to take trig before they take that, and then take college algebra before you take that. And all of a sudden, you start adding in all those prereqs. I'm really shocked when you told me that the other day. I didn't say anything, but they don't usually do that. But again, they recognize that hey, we got all of a sudden we got 2.5 years to get through a 2-year program or 3 years maybe. Yeah, yeah, and that's why I was at Butler when I was trying to take that digital signage class. Is like I don't want a year and a half to get this information. I'll go buy a book if I'd rather have a class where somebody But yeah. Yeah, probably. Um, I know what he's talking about. He's talking about the U substitution when you get to integration. There is a little bit of it in derivatives, but I could show you. I'll bring it up here. I'll show you. If you watch this video, you'll pretty well have what you need to do the. It's the identities, the trig identities, is which is most beneficial to like trying to find a derivative of something bizarre. You can use trig identities to rewrite it as a simpler trig expression, and then you can take a derivative of it. Um, no, I can show you how to basic graphing on it, but that's about it. But yeah, it does everything under the sun. It'll factor for you. It'll find derivatives. Um, yeah, and then computer science. This is associative science. Um, this is again where they come down here and like you say, there's four electives you take. Yeah, yeah. So it's different people are in different pathways and so forth, and yeah, there actually is no associative science in computer science or any of those at Cali. A lot of people don't realize that. When you go and get your diploma, you get like a associate of science or associate of arts. it just says Associate of Arts. It doesn't say in this or in that. Um, uh, they put these on there with names that kind of give you a kind of guides. What should you take to be most successful to have them transfer when you go on to other colleges type of deal. Let me show that real quick, and then I'll stop talking. If you are trying to learn how to graph on your TI-89, this is mathheals.com. And here's graphing calculators technology. And I go to college algebra. I think here it is, T89. And I go through here and I show how to do all the basic graphing. This is about almost 6 years ago when I created this, so I don't remember anything about it. But I'd have students come into college algebra and they'd wonder, how can I graph with the T89? And I don't know. So I finally created that video so that they could. Desmos Mathematica Wolfram, if I'm saying the name right, it does. Yeah, there's a lot of them out there now. Anyway. Okay. Oh, well, this is actually, I'll stop the talking here. I'll stop the video, but I just wanted to introduce what the classes were for next semester. I said that people need a little extra time. I can work with you until Wednesday of next week. I try to push everybody on to the Friday, so just so I can get as much in as possible to get grading done. But I understand you get behind, and I get behind myself, so and I work with people on that. I don't penalize you in any way on that. And then the last part of class just be for any questions. Not on the final project. I won't answer any questions on that, but any other project you have questions on, then I'll answer. If you're waiting to get signed up in a class, computer science, go ahead and sign up. Don't wait until after Christmas and the first week. Administration gets nervous when they see numbers low, and so they want to. And I'm pushing this time not to cancel classes that have like one student in them, because if that class is what you need for your emphasis, and I want you to have that. But again, the more they see there, like they moved some to strictly online this semester so they could have me teach college algebra at Udall. So that's why things got moved all around because I have to have 15 credit hours to be full time. So they start getting nervous and shifting things and putting things completely online. So go ahead and sign up. You don't have to pay now. I mean, you don't pay until yeah. So it doesn't cost you anything to go ahead and sign up. And if you change your mind, it's easy to drop and so forth. Well, I'll go ahead and stop the recording here. Then again, if you have any questions, be happy to answer them. Or if you want something opened, I'll go ahead and open them too while I'm here.